You're listening to All Talk. I'm Kevin Deitz. It's Friday morning, 1-800-859-0957. You can be a part of the show. Give us a call. Give us a text, 1-800-859-0WJR. Who are the most effective lawmakers in Washington, D.C.? It turns out someone monitors that, and currently a Michigan elected official is number one according to the Center for Effective Lawmaking. Can you guess who it is? Can you think of a name in your head who you think is the most effective lawmaker? And it's someone from the state of Michigan. I'm going to guess that you are thinking of the person that it is not. I did not pick this person when I played this game, but it is, in fact, Gary Peters. According to the Center for Effective Lawmaking, they named Gary Peters the most effective lawmaker of the 118th Congress. Let's bring in Dave Giulio, director of the Center for Civic Engagement and political science professor at Oakland University. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. I love this. I love people who are going to work, rolling up their sleeves, if not getting stuff done, trying to get stuff done. What do you make of this? Is this a legitimate poll or a legitimate assessment of who's effective and who's not?
Sure. And you know, the organization that did this study is the brainchild of some academics, and at Vanderbilt and another university that is escaping me at the moment. But us academics, we like to measure stuff, and sometimes those measurements can not be reliable or valid, and it can lead to some bad conclusions, right? Which is a good lesson for all of us when we think about, you know, when somebody says this is the best thing ever or this is the worst thing ever, you know, okay, how are we measuring that? But, you know, this study is probably the best that I've seen in terms of getting at real effectiveness. So I think it is a really legitimate tool for us to, and your listeners to look at, you know, who is most effective, who is doing their job maybe the best. And we can all certainly disagree about, you know, what would go into that. But I think that this particular example is a really good one because it gets at some key elements of what legislators are there to do. And one of them at the top of the list is, you know, are you proposing legislation that is being adopted? And Senator Peters leads the way with, in the 118th Congress, 24 of his bills became law. And I would just go one step further and say that, you know, in a time of partisanship, that is really something where, you know, on two levels. Number one, most of the time, we don't hear about the stuff that gets done. We only hear about the stuff that is gridlocked or that is problematic. And that's another element to Senator Peters' work, is the bipartisan nature of it. And as you know, Kevin, right, moving things in the Senate almost requires bipartisanship. And again, Senator Peters leads the way in bipartisanship.
Yeah, he sponsored 152 bills, 24 became law, as you said. The way we watch the news or hear about things, you think there weren't 24 things that became law under this Congress.
No doubt.
Right?
That's such a good point, right? I mean, we don't hear about the stuff that does happen, and the vast majority of it is bipartisan.
And this, this is just calling balls and strikes here, because retiring Senator Debbie Stabenow finished poorly in this particular Congress. Only one of her sponsored bills became law. So it's not like it's a left-leaning assessment here. It's just calling balls and strikes.
Yeah, I think that's another sort of feather in their cap, right? Is that they have not. The folks that came up with this methodology of assessing effectiveness, they haven't put their partisan thumb on the scale, right? As you note, right? There are Republicans and Democrats that rank high, and Republicans and Democrats that don't fare so well.
So Bill Huizenga got a thumbs up. He ranked 33rd. Haley Stevens got a thumbs up. She sponsored 26 pieces of legislation, with one becoming law. She was ranked as the most effective Democrat in the House. Rashida Tlaib got a thumbs down. It's interesting to me because it seems to me some people, we talk all the time, like someone will come on the show and they say, all right, we sponsored this bill and we're really excited about it. And I'm like, does it have any chance of passing? Like, oh, absolutely not. The Senate's never going to approve this. It'll certainly never be signed into law. So it seems like there's some people who pass bills to make a point or to get, a no vote on that bill for a commercial in a future election or something, which is all part of it, I suppose.
Well, it is in sort of politics these days, right? And the House and Senate individually will see thousands of pieces of legislation introduced, not even every Congress, but every year. And obviously they all don't go on to become law. And some of them are, for lack of a better term, stunts, where, somebody is trying to simply score political points. The famous example is Charlie Rangel, Democrat from years ago from Harlem in New York. And every year, every Congress, he would introduce a bill to bring back the draft. And he knew it wasn't going to ever get adopted or signed into law, but he did it to make a point, right? And there are others who have routine legislation that they will submit and introduce, again, as you note, right, to use it in a commercial down the way or to make some sort of political point.
It looks like Alyssa Slotkin got a thumbs up, sponsored 61 bills, one became law. Lawmakers Dan Kildee, Debbie Dingell, Jack Berman, it says all face challenges with no bills passed in the 118th Congress. Do you want to, as an elected official, do you want to get some softball legislation that everybody loves sponsored so that you can get something passed?
So here's another element to this, right, is that this is only one element of effectiveness. The passing of legislation is one component of what a legislator, what a representative might do. There are so many other pieces to their job that, okay, maybe, someone it doesn't score high on writing legislation or getting it through the House and Senate, but boy, they really have excelled in casework and helping constituents with problems that they're facing, or they're really doing a great job of communicating with their constituents and keeping them up to date on what's happening not only in their office but what's happening on Capitol Hill. So, right, I think while this is a really good piece of research, right, it is maybe only one element of a representative's job.
Yeah, showing up is another one. Some had high attendance, others did not. This particular study pointed to Debbie Dingell, who missed 5% of the votes, which is a high number of missing based on her peers. So that's another issue, is being there to vote.
No question about it, right? And sometimes members are pulled in different directions. I'm not making any excuses for anybody, but because they are there. That's what they're there to do, right, is to make decisions on behalf of the constituents back home. And that is one where, this is a final vote on a piece of legislation or an important procedural vote that's going to impact how the legislation is considered down the road, or whatever it might be, right? So while I do think that it's fair to ask, okay, what votes were missed, showing up and voting is an important piece of that job, no doubt about it.
Dave Dulio, Director of the Center for Civic Engagement and Political Science, Professor at Oakland University. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Yeah, I want to see a poll on how many lawmakers voted on bills that were sponsored by the opposing party to show that they're willing to get along and go along. Coming up at 10:35, U of M announced they are closing their DEI office. You're listening to All Talk.